Hey, I wanted to show you how to do an inside out front reinforced traditional sling carry, also sometimes just called reverse front reinforced traditional sling carry. It's a mouthful either way. This is a variation on FRTS, which is pre-tied, which a lot of people like, but otherwise very similar. It's also very similar to semi-pocket wrap cross carry, except for without the hammock cross pass. I'm going to start by finding the middle marker, and this is a one shoulder carry. So you are going to put the middle marker under the armpit of whatever shoulder you want capped. Once you have the middle marker under that arm, you're going to bring it across your chest and under your other arm, up diagonally across your back without twisting, and over your shoulder. This is just like starting a front wrap cross carry, just slightly off center. And then you're going to take the other side under the arm that's going to be capped, and where with front wrap cross carry you normally go over the other shoulder, you're going to keep it under. So this is making a horizontal back pass. I'm going to gather up this bottom rail of the horizontal pass across my front to about where baby's bum is going to be. I'm wrapping a newborn size demo doll, so that's pretty high on my body. Just loose, but not hanging down to my hips. And now I'm going to take this tail and bring it up. This is where it changes from regular front reinforced traditional sling carry. I'm going to bring it up inside that horizontal pass and making sure it's not twisted at all. So I have the top rail along my back. Here's the top rail as it comes up through the horizontal pass. There's the bottom rail. And I'm just going to secure it at my shoulder using either a sliding knot, like a cow's hitch or a clove hitch, or a single ring finish is fine as well. The sliding tail that's going vertically through the knot, however long this tail is right now, is about how long it's going to be in the long run. You'll have a little bit of adjustment here, but if this is already so long that you're going to trip over it, you need to adjust it at this point. Now I'm going to get everything adjusted to put my baby in. So I'm going to start by getting the knot up almost to my collarbone and over near my armpit. I don't want it too low on my body because it's not going to move too much. And now one of the things that I want to do is I want to have just enough room in this inner pass. I want it to come down. I'm just leaving it bunched for now. Just again where baby's bum is going to be. And then I'm going to walk any other slack through the horizontal back pass and into the outer horizontal pass on my front and push this down. I don't mind if there's slack in this pass. This can hang down a bit in it right now. But starting this inner pass as close to the right size as possible. And now I'm going to get my baby. With a small baby, I prefer to load them through the top of both passes. If you were wrapping a big kid, obviously you'd want a lot more room, but also you could jump rope both of these passes over their head and scoop them up from the bottom. But with a little baby especially, I prefer to put them on my shoulder in a vert position. I'm going to reach my hand up through both passes from the bottom, grab their feet and feed it through. The first step is just to get baby down to the right height on your front. With a small baby, I want them centered on my chest, close enough to kiss, but not all up in my business. If baby's still up in your face, you need to pull more slack into this inner sling pass so that you can lower them down a bit, but you still want them high enough so that their face is resting on the flattest part of your chest. You can also use this as a hip carry if you want baby on your hip, this is the point at which you would put baby on your hip so you're not sliding the whole carry around. You just want to put baby in right now where you want them to be. So I'm going to start by getting baby to the right height, and then I'm going to bunch this all up under baby's knees. Let me see if I can get this horizontal pass out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to scoop baby's pelvis up so they're in a nice seated position with their pelvis rounded and their knees higher than their bum. And then I'm going to spread this inside pass, the inner sling pass. I'm going to grab the top rail, spread it up over baby's back. And the small baby, that's up to the nape of their neck, no higher than their ears. With an older infant or a toddler, that could just be up to their armpits. Okay. Now, at this point, the whole carry tightens, starting at the knot with the tail that you tie the knot with, going across baby's back. Any of the slack between baby and this knot right now, you need to tighten out across their back because this is the last chance you get at that slack. So I'm going to pull everything down. Make sure that seat is tucked and making a straight line from knee to knee. So I'm pulling this bottom rail tight and pulling this top rail tight across baby's back, behind their neck. And so I'm going to start with one rail at a time, keeping a hand on baby until I'm sure they're secure. I'm going to feed this top rail slack horizontally across my front, pulling it up high over my back. So it's making the horizontal back pass on the underside of the two passes on my back, pulling it up high and tight across my back. And I'm just working in a spiral all the way around my body. So now I'm working through the horizontal pass on the front, pulling up just enough width. The rest of the width is still loose and bunched at the bottom. So I'm pulling just enough width to cover baby's back. And again, holding on to this top rail and walking it all the way around again. And now we're going to go diagonally up the second layer on my back. Kind of pushing it with one hand and pulling it with the other toward the sliding knot. And now I'm going to walk that slack through the sliding knot, finding the coordinating strand of the tail and pulling it through. Now I'm going to repeat this with the bottom rail. So the key is to find the bottom rail of the inside pass, walk it through the seat, pulling it taut. As I'm doing the horizontal pass on my back, I'm pulling the width down, just like doing a chest pass on the front, pulling it down and taut and gathering all the excess near the bottom rail and walking it through, passing it from one hand to the other. I want this horizontal back pass to be wide and spread and snug. That's where most of the weight should load in this carry. And now I'm going to walk this through, passing it from one hand to the other, making sure not to trap baby's legs, making a second seat that makes another taut straight line from knee to knee, and then walking it up through the diagonal pass across my back. And now at this point you have a choice. You can, now that I have all this slack at the bottom rail on my shoulder, I can choose to cap my shoulder, or I can choose to leave it up on top of my shoulder. This is generally not a shoulder heavy carry either way. Leaving it on top of your shoulder does give you a little bit more range of motion on that covered shoulder, but it does sacrifice a little bit of weight distribution. If you cap it, I would gather most of the width down on the bottom rail onto your arm. I'm going to show you that way first, and then tighten it strand by strand through the knot so that the bottom rail on your arm makes a straight line straight across horizontally to the top rail going across baby's neck. And so this lets it spread really wide across your back and gets you a little bit better weight distribution, and you have full range of motion of the uncapped arm, uncapped shoulder. With the shoulder that is capped and covered, you do have some limited range of motion. So you can also sacrifice some of that by bunching it on top of your shoulder and strand by strand tightening it in that position. In this case, you still want to make sure it's spread out and evenly across the top of your shoulder as much as possible, and that all the strands aren't tightened evenly. If you notice that after you do this, you can feel it cutting into your neck and the strand is a little tighter, you can pull some slack back into that one strand. And this is the basic tightening. And then you really want to make sure that the horizontal back pass is loading most of the weight. So you may need to do some strand by strand tightening of just that pass, in which case you're going to start going from the horizontal back pass under the capped arm and through the horizontal front pass. So that's the direction slack is going to go. So I'm going to start doing one strand at a time. And once you grab a strand, you don't want to let go of it. You just want to walk it through all the way through the front of the carry and then up diagonally across your back. This is where stripes can be helpful. If you don't have stripes, sometimes you just have to figure out where the coordinating strand is. And then again, find that strand underneath the knot so you can tighten it through. And keep finding any loose strands along your back and just kind of precision tightening those. All the way around to the shoulder. There we go. And making sure that the shoulder, again, stays as spread as you want it to and is evenly tightened so that every single strand should be doing equal work here on top of the shoulder. You shouldn't have one strand that's digging sharper than the other. But that's the basics. And you should have a one shoulder carry that is very snuggly and loads mostly on this horizontal pass on your back, is much less shoulder heavy than other front carries. And then to get baby back out, you can just pull down on the knot to loosen it a little bit. Pull that slack diagonally down across your back now into that outer horizontal pass and push it down. And then you can either pull baby out from the top of this sling pass or peel it up from their bum and up over their head and lift them right out. So that's inside out, front reinforced, traditional sling carry. So this carry also works for big kids. You'll just want to make sure that you have more room. Again, have the bottom rail of the inner sling pass down to where baby's bottom will be, and all slack pulled into that outer pass with the knot still high on your body.